What if the most valuable data in your school didn't end up in the recycling bin at the end of the day? Now, most teachers are skipping the deep data analysis for their student work, not because they don't want to do it, but simply because they don't have the time. In this video, I want to show you how a teacher can turn a stack of papers into a dynamic data set that they can use to personalize their lesson plan for their students tomorrow before the final bell rings today. And potentially save your district around $140,000. I've been on the hiring team for schools for many years, and something that's becoming more concerning is teacher retention. I have seen consecutive years at a single school where more than 10 teachers leave, which means we've needed to interview, hire, and onboard more than 10 teachers multiple years in a row. Now, according to some research done by the Learning Policy Institute, the cost to replace a teacher in a small district is around $11,000. Now, when you consider that the national average of turnover is about 12%, that adds up quickly to around $140,000 a year. Not to mention the negative impacts that high turnover rates have on student performance. You know, one of the very best ways to decrease turnover rates and also save hundreds of thousands of dollars is to implement simple ways to support and maximize teachers' workflows. I've been a coach for a number of years, and one of the ways that we have found in the schools that I've support is to help teachers take data from simple activities like formative assessments, bell ringers, quizzes, exit tickets, and process that to help them determine what needs to happen next in instruction. Now, ordinarily, this is a process that takes a while, especially when you want teachers to collaborate on teaching teams. So often what happens is once a teacher has read all of the student responses, determined what the learning gap is, and figured out what to do, the moment's gone. It's passed on, making all of the effort and things that they've done feel a little irrelevant. So to fix this bottleneck, what we started to do is implement the teacher-facing tools that Sibme offers and combining the document scanner and AI insights. So here's essentially how it works. A teacher will have all of their exit tickets or their assignments that students have done that day. And while students are working, they can scan in those assignments and get AI insights all at the same time. What the app will do is it will automatically crop and scan every page and compile it into a single PDF that you can then run the AI insights for within Sibme. So let's jump in and see what this would look like with an example. So this is my resource. It's from an anatomy class. It's a handwritten assignment that my students did. And you can see here are all of those submissions. Some are sideways, some have my fingers, some are facing the right way, but it doesn't really matter because the PDF scanner is clever enough to figure out which way is up and to analyze handwriting. So what you'll do is, as a teacher, you just come up to this button in the top that says AI Insights, click on that, and then from here, you can have a conversation. Right now it's saying with the anatomy worksheet that I just uploaded. So I'm gonna click on the history that shows me all of the previous chats that I've had. Everything is saved, and click on this one that I've done before just to save us time for the demo. So what I asked was what the general understanding of the worksheet was. I asked about misconceptions or concerns. I asked about things that I should consider before moving on in that unit, and then also grouping them into mastery levels. So let's break down some of the things that it showed me. What it showed me for the general level of understanding is that they kind of got these key functions and vocab terms, things like that, which was great. That is exactly what the assignment was about. But the next thing was interesting. I asked if there were any misconceptions, and it said, yeah, I mean, most kids got what they were meant to get, mission accomplished, but for several, there were some misconceptions, and it grouped them into common misconceptions my students had on this particular assignment. So, and gave me a summary. So what I then thought was like, okay, well, if there are misconceptions, what should I do before moving on? And it gave me some thoughts. It gave me the idea of like, okay, you could clarify origin versus assertion. with some demos or diagrams. We could do some role play. We could do some comparing of diagrams, visual mapping, 3D modeling. Give me so many different ideas of how I could adapt this quickly before moving on with new content. So that would give me what I needed to do the next time I saw my students. It was pretty incredible. Out of curiosity, I was interested what the breakdown was on a mastery level, and it gave me this: about 80% of the students did pretty well on this assignment. But there is that 20% that need more help. So that would be easy for me to know how much time I need to spend and find those students that need it rather than just reteaching the whole thing. So, I mean, it's pretty incredible what this can do. All of that took me about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. That's something that I could have gotten done while my students were working on things, and then I could have even resolved those misconceptions before class even ended. I mean, how cool would that be to be able to move that quickly with data? Blows my mind. Okay, as a leader, this is the moment where your school culture begins to shift, because you've just given your teachers a way to differentiate instruction and close learning gaps without staying hours after school combing through stacks of papers. I mean, not only this, but now teachers can focus on more important things like developing relationships with their students, designing more meaningful, engaging learning experiences. I mean, the list goes on. Now, I can tell you as a teacher and as a coach that one of the biggest stressors in a teacher's career is right in line with collecting, processing, and analyzing data so that teachers can make good instructive choices in the way that they're designing learning. Now, most teachers that leave the classroom aren't leaving because they don't like teaching or because the kids are too tough, but it's because of the mountains of under-supported invisible work, like the things we just talked about, and all of the extra duties as assigned. By providing them tools to do all of this more efficiently, you're actually building a culture at your school where collecting and analyzing data actually isn't on the list of reasons why a teacher would leave the classroom, but more likely, one of the top reasons why they'll stay. So in less than 10 minutes, your teachers have been able to move from drowning in papers to a clear game plan for tomorrow before they even leave the building today, or better yet, before their class is even done. Now, that's the kind of comeback for more feeling we want our teachers to have at the end of a long teaching day. As a leader, you know that data on a page is just a symptom. Knowing what a student got wrong, that's only half the battle. So if a student, for example, does poorly on an exit ticket, the teacher still has to know why. Where were the gaps? And let's be honest, teachers just don't have the time to sit with every small group while they have a discussion to find out where the leaky hole in the bucket is. If you want to know how we can make the invisible thinking process from small groups visible so that your teachers can stop guessing and start teaching with 100% confidence, watch this video next.